ब्रह्मनाथ ओ शांति 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 स्वस्थ।
Hello students, in the previous class we discussed about the introduction portion of the zoology. In that we discussed what is science, what are the various branches of the science. Later on we discussed what is biology, we discussed what is the definition of the biology and who coined the term biology. We discussed that the Lamarck and Treviranus in the year 1802 coined the term biology. Further, we discussed what is zoology, means which is our subject. What is zoology? Means the scientific study of the animals. Okay. Later on, we discussed who is the father of biology and who is the father of zoology. The person is same, and your answer will be the Aristotle. Next, we discussed what is the living world, or we can say we discussed what is living being and we discussed what is non-living being, and we discussed what is the main difference between the living being and the non-living being. And lastly, we further discussed that the main difference between the living and the non-living being is your presence of protoplasm. Protoplasm is the physical basis of life said by the famous scientist Huxley. Okay, today we'll discuss the characteristics of the living organism. What are the main or basic characteristics that we can identify that the organism means, or we can say it is living or non-living. Okay, so first characteristics is your presence of definite shape and size. So first one is your presence of definite shape and size. Okay, just a second. Presence of definite shape and size means what? A living organism has a definite shape and size. Means if you see means a human being, then it has a different definite shape and size. Means one nose, two ear, okay, two hand, two legs are present, and its structure is you can quite recognize. Next, if you will see a cow, then its structure is completely different. It consists of, we can say, two horns, or we can say four legs, one tail. Okay, a hump is present. Okay, so that is the structure of a cow. If we will come to also the plant, then mango tree is different from banyan tree. Banyan tree is different from a banana tree. Okay, means the structure is completely different. Means each organism has a particular definite, or we can say definite shape and size. Okay, it cannot match anyone. Means a human being will never match the structure of a cow, or a cow will never match the structure of a we can say a dog, or a dog can never match the structure, or we can say a whole shape and size of a monkey. It will differ, but in case of same organism there will be a narrow minor change. Okay, means as we say, I am also a human being. If I see another human being, the structure is completely same, but there is presence of minor changes. Means my face is different, his face will different, or her face will different. If we will say also in different, means if we will say two cow, means the structure is overall same, but there will be minor changes. So your first characteristics of living organism is presence of definite shape and size, but there will be a minor changes in the organisms, or narrow changes in the organisms. So your first point is a every living organisms have definite shape and size. Definite shape and size. Definite shape and size. Okay, but there will be a narrow or minor change in case of some organisms. There will be a minor or narrow changes in the organisms. Okay. Next, second one is your, we can say, the cellular structure. Second one is your cellular structure. Cellular structure means what? See, every living organisms is made up of different types of cells, but it is compulsory that a living organisms is made up of cells. Maybe it is unicellular or multicellular. Maybe it is unicellular as it consists of only one cell, for common example amoeba, or in common example in the case of the human being, as we are multicellular. But the compulsory thing is every living organisms is made up of various cells. So first point is your every living organisms is made up of different types of cells. Okay, such as we have cardiac cells in the case of the circulatory system, we have hepatic cell in the case of the liver, we have kidney cell, okay, we have the RBC, or we can say red blood cell for the formation of the blood. So various types of cells are present, but the main thing is every living organisms is made up of cells. Maybe it is unicellular, maybe it is multicellular. Unicellular means one cell is present, multicellular means more than one cells are present. Unicellular example is amoeba, multicellular common example is human being. Okay, next. So from this you can conclude that the cell is the structural and functional unit of life. This could come as your 1 mark objective, and you should remember this for a whole lifetime, that which is the structural and functional unit of the life. Answer will be cell. Cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Means cell is the thing in which all the vital activities are conducted. Means cell consists of cytoplasm, nucleus, or we can say various cell organelles in which various vital activity which is necessary for our body takes place. So we can say and as the cell is the structural and functional unit. One unit is called one cell is called one unit, means it is composed of one cell, or unicellular or multicellular, means it is the structural and functional unit of the cell. Also we can write cell is the building block of an organism. What is building block? Block means, suppose we are making a wall of a house, means for making a wall of a house what we need? A brick. So for a wall of a house, the brick is the building block of the wall. So as that manner, for the making or the making of an organism, cell is the building block of an organism. So we can say cell as the organism is compulsory. We can say it is made up of cells. So cell is the building block of the cell. Maybe it is unicellular or maybe it is multicellular. So we can say cell is the building block of an organism. Okay. Number 3. Next characteristic says your, we can say, organization. Organization. In an organism's body, the smaller unit, or we can say the subunit, combine to form a large unit, that is called organization. Okay, so we'll write first. In an organism's body, the smaller unit and subunits combined to form larger units, that is called organization. Okay. Means what? Suppose we'll take from the, we can say, we'll start from the cell. Okay, we know every organisms, may be it unicellular or multicellular, it is made up of different type of cell. Similar type of cell will combine to form a tissue. Okay. Similar type of tissue will combine to form an organ. Okay, and various organ cumulatively will form an organ system. And various organ system will form the organism. Okay, so which is organism? In which, due to the presence of the organisms in it, due to the presence of the organization, it is in the body, it is called the organism. So which organism we can, to whom we can say organism? Due to presence of organization in the body, it is called an organism. Okay, so what we understood from the organization means the smaller unit, okay, or subunit, smaller unit or subunit combined to form an organism. Okay, means a similar cell will combine to form a particular type of tissue. A similar type of tissue will combine to form an organ. Various organ will combine to form an organ system. Such as, for a common example, and various organ system will form the organism. So, for example, in the case of circular system, which type of cell we need? Cardiac cells. Okay. For the formation of the liver, which cell we need? Hepatic cell. For the formation of blood, which type of cell we need? Red blood cell. For the formation of the, we can say, for the kidney, for the formation of kidney, which type of cell we know? Lead kidney cells we need. Okay, for the formation of the nervous system, we require the nerve cell. So, for various type of the organs, we need a particular type of cell. That is why it is told that an organism is made up of various types of cells. And from starting from the base, that is your smaller subunit, it makes to form the larger unit, and finally the organism. But also there is interrelation between two systems. Means, suppose we are taking a digestive system and suppose we are taking a respiratory system. Then those two are also having a link. How? when we eat the food, we are taking in a complex molecule manner. It will break into simpler molecules or simpler form by the help of the digestion process. Various organs are present, such as your mouth, then your esophagus, pharynx, then we can say the stomach, large intestine, small intestine, lastly anus. Okay, so by this all the organs, the food is we can say digested and converted into simpler forms, and also by the help of various digestive enzymes. After the food is being we can say converted into simpler forms, it is present in the blood. Next, when we breathe in by the help of the respiratory system, respiratory system consists the nasal chamber, trachea, lungs or bronchi regions, okay, by which the alveoli, by which the air comes in or oxygen comes in and oxidizes the food, okay, by which we get the energy, or we can say the CO2 is being eliminated. No need to worry about it, no need to go into the details. I am just giving an example. We will read detail in the digestive system, we will read detail in the circulatory system, we will read detail in the respiratory system. Okay, just as for example, I am saying that when the simpler food molecule which is being digested is being oxidized, then we found the energy, and water is molecule is also formed, and the carbon dioxide is being eliminated as a byproduct. So we can say various organ system are also collaborated, or we can say related in some way. Okay, so this should be the main characteristics of the living organism is your presence of organization. Then only we can say that is a organism. And what is organization? Means when the smaller units combine to, or the subunits combine to form the larger unit, then it is called as organization. Okay. So firstly we discussed the definite shape and size, means each and every living organism consists of definite shape and size. Cellular structure, every organism consists of or made up of various types of cell, and cell is the structural and functional unit of life, and also cell is the building block of organism. Lastly, organization, in which we discussed in an organism's body the smaller unit and the subunits combine to form the larger unit, and it is called the organization, in which the similar cell is the basic unit. Similar type of cell combines to form the tissue. Similar type of tissue combines to form an organ. Various organ forms a definite organ system, as in the case of digestive system we are taking mouth, the esophagus, as I said, the stomach, the pharynx region, the large intestine, the small intestine. These all organs form the organ system, such as digestive system, and various the organ system such as the digestive system, circulatory system, the excretory system, the nervous system combined to form an organism, and that is known as your organization. Okay, please note down. Now we will come to your fourth important characteristics of the living organism, that is the protoplasm. Protoplasm is the main characteristics of the living organism, as it play the main role with differentiating or distinguishing between the living being and the non-living. So your fourth one is your protoplasm. Fourth important characteristics is your protoplasm. See, as I said earlier, means what is the difference in between the living being and the non-living being? Means we can say always we say that the main difference is your protoplasm, because protoplasm is the physical basis of life. Okay. Every living cell have, we can say, an actively metabolism part. Okay, actively metabolism part made up of semi-fluid and semi-transparent. Okay, semi-transparent complex of the colloidal system. Okay, means what? The protoplasm is, we can say, in the cell it is the cytoplasm plus nucleus. Okay, means colloidal system means what? Means the various organelles are suspended in a semi-fluid or semi-transparent like solution. So first we will write what is protoplasm. We can say living cell have an actively metabolism part made up of semi fluid and semi transparent solution or complex of colloidal system. Okay, it is called as protoplasm. Okay, means the every cell, as we said, the main difference between the living and non-living is presence of protoplasm. First difference is protoplasm, means the presence of an actively metabolism part made up of, we can say, the semi-fluid or we can say semi-transparent complex of the colloidal system. Colloidal system means the various organelles are suspended in the solution, that is known as colloidal system. Okay, so and that we can say that semi-fluid or semi-transparent we can say the complex is known as your protoplasm, and in the protoplasm various vital activities are being conducted. In the protoplasm various vital activities are performed. Okay, or conducted, we can write, appropriate will be are conducted. So finally we find that the protoplasm is the physical basis of life, and who said it? Huxley in the year 1863. Huxley in the year 1863 said that protoplasm is the physical basis of life. Okay. Next, your fifth characteristics is metabolism. So what is metabolism? The various vital or we can say important chemical reaction that occurs inside the cell cell for the proper functioning of the organs, means such as our respiratory system will do function properly, our we can say the circulatory system will function properly, or we can say our cell repair in the case of various injury will repair properly. So the various vital activities or we can say various important activities, how it will perform properly by the help of various chemical reaction, that is nothing but your metabolism. So we can write various vital chemical reactions that occurs inside the cell is called metabolism. Metabolism is further divided into two types: anabolism, catabolism. Anabolism and catabolism. Okay. What is anabolism? And what is catabolism? Simply you remember, it is a metabolic process, means the anabolism means in which synthesis takes place. In the case of the catabolism, the breakdown takes place. How? Synthesis means the simpler molecule will combine to form a complex molecule. In the catabolism, it is a breakdown, means the complex molecule will break down to form a simpler molecules. Okay, next. In the anabolism, energy is being used, but in the catabolism, energy is being released. Common example of the anabolism is photosynthesis, where the glucose molecule is formed. Common example catabolism is respiration, where the glucose molecule is being break down to form the CO2, means the energy is released, H2O is formed, and CO2 is formed as a byproduct. That is the different topic we will discuss later clearly. For as of now, this is the difference between the anabolism and the catabolism. Means anabolism means, first point, it is a synthesis process. It is a synthesis process, or also you can write it is a building process. Catabolism, it is a breakdown process. Catabolism, it is a breakdown process. Okay. Whereas the anabolism, energy is used. Energy is used. But in the catabolism, energy is released. Okay. In the anabolism, the simpler molecules combine to form complex molecules. Simpler molecules combines to form complex molecules. Okay. Example is photosynthesis. Example is photosynthesis. Example is photosynthesis. Okay. In the case of the catabolism, the complex molecules are break down to form the simpler molecules. The complex molecules breaks down to form simpler molecules or simpler forms. Anything you can write. Okay. Example will be respiration. Okay, so these are your two important characteristics. One is your protoplasm, another one is your metabolism. In which the protoplasm, the living cell consists of an actively metabolism part of the, we can say, semi-fluid or semi-transparent complex of colloidal system, and it is the physical basis of the life said by the Huxley, in which various vital activities are being performed. Next, in the metabolism, it is the various vital chemical reaction that occurs inside our body. It is of two types, anabolism and catabolism. Anabolism means building process in which simpler molecules combine to form complex molecule, and one is your catabolic process or catabolism in which the complex molecules are break down to form simpler forms. Okay, in the anabolism, energy is being used. In the catabolism, energy is being released. In the anabolism, the photosynthesis is your example, and in the catabolism, respiration is your example. For example, common example, in the anabolism, glucose is formed in the photosynthesis. In the catabolism, for common example, in the respiration, glucose is being break down. Okay. So this is your important two characteristics. One is your protoplasm, another one is your metabolism. Okay, please note down.
You can see here the structure of animal cell containing plasma membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, cell organelle like ribosome, centriole, microtubules, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, then the lysosome. These are the cell organelles present. Then the protoplasm is the physical basis of life, the cytoplasm plus nucleus, or you can say the cytoplasm plus nucleoplasm. Cytoplasm contains all the cell organelle, and in the nucleus all the genetic materials are present.
Next, we'll discuss our sixth important characteristics of the living organism, that is a homeostasis. Homeostasis. If we will break the word, we will find two words. One will find the home and other one is your stasis. Home means similar, stasis means stable. So what does the word signifies or wants to say? Means it is the maintenance of the constancy of the internal environment, okay, by the feedback mechanism through chemical reactions. We can write it is the maintenance of constancy in the internal environment through by feedback mechanism through chemical reaction. Okay, common example is your hormonal regulation. Example is your hormonal regulation. Means what? Homeostasis means whatever may be the outer environment is, but the inner environment is always remain constant, will always remain constant. That maintenance of the constancy of the internal environment is nothing but a homeostasis. Okay, so how it is being done? It is done by the feedback mechanism through various chemical reactions. What is feedback mechanism? Means, for example, I will say, suppose a hormone secrete various secretion. If that secretion is optimum inside our body, means it does not require more secretion, then it will send a negative feedback that it don't require any further secretion. But if that secretion will have, we can say the scarcity of the secretion causes, it will give a positive feedback by which the secretion will be done. So the common example, if I will take the homeostasis of the common example I will give, when the body temperature rises. If the body temperature rises, if the surrounding temperature rises or body temperature rises and sweating occurs, you can also realize whenever sweating occurs, the body temperature is slightly, or we can say it is lowered. Okay, so that is called the feedback mechanism. Okay, common example, suppose when the outer environment temperature increases, the body temperature increases. When the body temperature increases, much sweating occurs, and when much sweating occurs, the body temperature is being lowered. So this is a common example of the homeostasis. Okay, next, the seventh important characteristics of the living organism is growth and development. Growth and development. First one, every living organisms show growth and development. Every living organisms shows growth and development. Okay, so one question arises, how the growth take place? Growth in the living organism takes place by cell division, cell differentiation and cell enlargement. Growth occurs due to cell division, cell differentiation and cell enlargement. cell enlargement. Obviously, the basic unit we know as simple means it may be unicellular, means single cell present, but in case of the multicellular means more than one cell are present. How this more than one cell comes? Simply by the cell division. It simply divides to form the organisms. Okay, first part. What is the cell differentiation? Means one type of cell. Obviously, the basic starting point is same, single cell. From that only a whole organism is being created. So, what we find? The stem cell, or we can say the cell from which the various type of other cells are formed or produced, it's same. But the cell is being converted from one type of cell to another type of cell. Means the origin of cell is same. From this type of cell, the cardiac cells are formed. From this type of cell, nerve cells are formed. From this type of cell, RBC or red blood cells are formed. Okay, and lastly, cell enlargement occurs to form the various organs. So, every living organism shows we can say growth and development, and growth occurs due to cell division. Cell differentiation means one type of cell converted into another type of cell, and cell enlargement. Okay. Lastly, the eighth important characteristics is your movement. Okay. So, every living organisms we can say show movement. Simply we can write every living organisms shows movement. Okay. So, now a question arises, one term is present that is called locomotion. Movement is also we can say change in body parts, locomotion also we can say some changes occurs. Then what is the main difference between the movement and the locomotion? Okay, suppose I am standing here, I am moving my body parts. This is called movement. Suppose I am now standing here, now I will come here. My position changes, this is called locomotion. So, animals when can move from one place to another place, that is called locomotion. Animals can move from one place to another, that is called locomotion. Okay. And also some stationary plants are also present, some fixed animals are present, which only they occurs to the they perform only movement, as they can move only their body parts. So only movement is seen in case of fixed plants and stationary, or we can say stationary plants and fixed animals of stationary plants and fixed animals. Okay, some animals are present which are fixed, means they can only does the movement, they cannot locomote. Okay, means the locomotion does not occur. So this is also one of your important movement. So now we discussed the homeostasis, means the constancy of the internal environment by the feedback mechanism through the various chemical reaction. Growth and development means growth and development is seen in all living organisms, and growth occurs due to cell division, cell enlargement and cell differentiation. Cell division, cell differentiation and cell enlargement. Lastly, movement means every living organisms show movement. Some which are fixed, they show only movement, and in case of various animals, they can move from one place to another, that is called locomotion. Okay, so today we discussed 8 important characteristics of the living organisms. Okay, first we discussed the, we can say, the cellular structure. definite shape and size, then we discussed the organization, then we discussed the protoplasm, metabolism, and now we discussed the homeostasis, growth and development, and finally we discussed the movements. Okay, so I want to say one thing, that what I am writing on the board, it is better if you do a zoology notebook separately, and what is being studied in the class, you should note down the points in your notebook, so that it will be better for your reference. Okay, you can recollect what we have studied. Okay, so today we discussed 8 important characteristics of the living organisms. In the next class we discuss more important characteristics of the living organisms. So that's all for today. We will meet in our next class. Thank you.